So hi and welcome back to my build series. Today we're going to work on the frames for the furniture. So for the bed I have these massive beams here. They're really nice and sturdy, and those are gonna go on the corner to keep everything up. And then I have another type of wood that are going to go on the sides.
I've been living in my 1979 Mercedes camper for 2 years now. I love that van, but it was itching me to do my own conversion. Alone and without any experience, I sold my old van and started with my very own van build.
I don't know, that doesn't seem right to me. It's not very high. Let me measure again. Okay, the measurement is right, so I mean I'm done cutting this now, and I'm gonna take this inside to see the height of a normal table, because that's gonna be about the height of the table, and see if that makes sense, this height, or if it's too short. No, it's actually almost exactly the height of this table, so that should be alright. Sitting here, this height. No, it's alright. Just seems too small, but it's actually the right height. Alright, now that I know this is the right height, I can continue cutting the rest of the pieces. 4 is what I need. I have 1. Alright, let's do the other ones. So now I want to connect some of these parts with pocket holes, and this is why I got this wonderful pocket hole jig kind of thing. It was just a cheap one, it's a very, very simple one, but it works alright. I already made some little tests in this piece of wood here, and this way I can connect these pieces without having to use an iron angle kind of thing, and hopefully it's gonna be relatively stable. And there we have a pocket hole. Now I need to attach the 3 pieces to one another. I'm reusing all these screws, hopefully. And this way I don't have to buy expensive screws. So one of the side pieces of the bed is done. Hopefully I'll have a bed soon. And those are the resulting parts. It's quite sturdy when you have it in the hand, but if you shake it like this, it still seems a bit wobbly. But then these parts are going to be connected with the wall, so I think it should be alright. And now I'm doing the beams that are going across. So now, of course, I need to paint them. And I'm done. Usually I like painting stuff, but that seems a bit pointless actually, because you're not gonna see this stuff. Alright, I'll leave these guys to dry now up till tomorrow, and then I can start building things. Yeah! Good morning, everyone! So the frame wood for my bed dried overnight. I already put these supports for the bed in place, and they fit really nicely. I might have to get to places that are here behind the wooden beams. So I'm not going to attach the bed to the van yet, but I'm going to build the whole thing. This is in place, and next step is to get these beams in. Try that. I'm going to use these giant screws. so they go all the way through this beam and a little bit further into the other one, just like that. And because they're these giant screws, I'm going to pre-drill. So this first one was a real success. It's really nice and sturdy. Now I'll add the one that goes here. Nice. Now that the basic frame of the bed is in, next thing I'm going to be working on is the kitchen unit table kind of thing. And I already cut all the pieces that I need to size. And those are going to be connected with pocket holes too. So let's get over to the workshop and drill the holes. So those are the old wheel arch boxes. They were already in the van when I bought the van. Obviously they look pretty dirty and old and grubby, so I'm trying to make them look a bit nicer again by sanding. So, good morning everyone. There was actually a pretty bad storm tonight. There was some kind of flooding going on, so a bunch of things got wet and dirty, which is not that good for wood. But surprisingly, or not surprisingly, very, very good is that my van here, there was no leaks, no nothing. Everything was nice and sealed. Also the spot on the side door that I was worried about earlier. No water in there at all, so that's really good. That's really relieving. So I know that even though that was such a big storm, it was really like so much rain and nothing got in there. So I'm pretty excited and happy about that. So let me show you the damage. These are the wheel arches. Obviously they got a little bit wet and dirty there, and it's drying off now, and that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Next thing is I already moved this, so this whole thing, I was storing my stuff here. Luckily, I removed most of it before I came, but as you can see, the water rose this high here, and this all got wet and dirty. And also these ones that I wanted to reuse. And now the tent here. As you can see, the whole floor is wet, and it was flooded all inside here. So this is where I stored a lot of my wood. Especially, you know, the long ones. That's the cladding for the roof. And as you can see, they all got wet and dirty. Not as bad as over at the other place, but you know, but still. You can see how high the water rose, and that's just not very good for the wood. And hopefully I can just clean these things up and dry them out so that they don't have any damage and I can still use this stuff. It's not really a setback or anything, but I just wanted to show you what's going on and what can happen. So, you know, if you're doing these kind of builds, it's really cool if you have an actual garage with a nice fixed floor where it's straight and where there's no water coming in when there's a storm and bad weather. Again, I'm pretty lucky that I can just use these facilities here anyway. So, but if you have to rent a place and you have a decision between a fixed floor and something where there's dirt on the floor, just take a fixed floor. It makes so many things easier. Alright, let's get to work. So I've been building on the frames for the furnitures a little bit off camera, because I thought it's pretty obvious what I'm doing. I'm just connecting pieces of wood together with pocket holes. But I just wanted to show you this super great technique that I am using because I'm only one person. If I just did that, the whole thing is lifting and it doesn't help. So I'm holding it down with my feet like that and then screwing in here. That's done now. Hopefully I don't have to do this again, but I think I need to here. Alright, let's continue. Just assembled them to see what they look like. And I had this idea that I could maybe make these boxes where you sit on look like little crates, like little warehouse crates. And the original idea was to just make the frame and then stick a piece of wood just in front of it. So, but then you would lose the structure of these, you know, these beams. So I'm thinking about making a little kind of crack thing here, where you can slot in some really thin wood that could slot into here from above, and then I could close it off. So I can cover it up, but you can still see the frame that I used for it. And I might add a little smaller piece that I make go across like that. So I think I'm going to do this. It's definitely a bit more work, but I'm just imagining it in my head how it would look like, and I think it could be really cool. So yeah. So let's try to make this little... Here, this is what it's called. This is what I did, and they should slot together like that, so they match up here, but you don't see them from the outside. That's the idea. This is pretty thin here. Might be able to broaden it if I make several cuts, but I want to avoid it, so I need to find something that is that thin. When I fit those, I probably have to go through them another time, but yeah, I'll probably going to paint this now anyway. I painted these ones earlier, so I can already attach some pieces of the frames for the seat back there together, so I can test the seat a little bit. So that's the finished frames. Obviously they're still just held in place. Yeah, so I haven't screwed them to the things, so they're still really loose. But I want to see if the height works out. So I got some loose boards, and hopefully I can try to sit on it without injuring myself. So that's about the height that I have. Actually, I already think that it's a bit too high. It's actually quite perfect with the right angle legs, but the reason why I want to have them a little bit lower is because there's gonna be some padding on top of it too, and then I think it gets too high. I'm gonna get some cushions to see how it feels with some padding on this. So these are some pillows, and I mean there's 3 pillows, that seems like quite a lot, but I think realistically speaking, because I'm going to use pieces of my mattress from up there, and I think it's gonna be about this height, so... Oh. Yeah, that's a bit too high. I think I need to lower it down actually a little bit. I have been building these two this morning. That's for the seat on the right hand side, and this is for the seat on the left hand side. These still need to be painted, and then back here the wheel arches need a second coat, so it's painting time. There's actually not that much left, that much paint. I used up this whole 2.5 liter varnish, wood varnish. That should still be enough for this work. I'm almost done with the frames. One last frame I'm going to build is a frame around the batteries that we just put in here. Those are my giant battery packs of 280 amp hours each. So they're really, really heavy. Normally if you're connecting to battery packs, you want to place them as close as possible to each other. You want to have a really short wire that goes between them. But because those are so heavy, if I were to put them only on one side, the vehicle would be off balance. I didn't put them here in the inside because there's the space for my drawers that I want to have that go underneath the bed. I was kind of worried that the wheel arch and the battery would be too big for this 50 centimeter kind of box thing, but they fit in, they slot in perfectly. So now I just have to make sure that they stay there if they are in there, and that's why I'm building a frame for them. So that's it. That is all of the frames in, not screwed in yet, not attached to anything like the wall yet, but it's all in place so I can have a look around and see if I like the layout. But so far I'm really happy with how this all turned out. The next step would be to do some little adjustments here and there, and then I'm going to be doing the wiring, and I'm actually quite scared of that because I've never done anything with electrics before, but the electricity is going to be a topic for the next video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, why don't you give it a thumbs up? That really helps me to stay motivated making these videos here. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Alright, see you in the next one. Bye.